For more on that, we get word on the street from Sean Jensen of the Chicago Sun-Times. Sean, Jay Cutler will be making his playoff debut. Since 2003, quarterbacks in that situation are 5-19. Is that an important stat or a meaningless stat?
There's no question it's an important stat. And you look back to when Kurt Warner led the Rams to the Super Bowl under Mike Martz in '99, and they're 17-26 overall. So that's not very much more impressive. So I think that's something you definitely have to factor in. And I think that's why, they should learn a lesson from the Green Bay game where they kind of got away from the run a little bit, put the ball into Jay Cutler's hands, and instead really start to try to establish the run against the Seahawks with Matt Forte, because there's no player on the Bears who's hotter right now than Matt Forte.
All right, now for one of our X Factor questions. Which player that might be under the radar for the Bears should we be looking for?
Well, he's had a real quiet finish to the season, but the Bears are very excited about what Greg Olsen has done. His numbers are down from last year, but he's really embraced sort of this role of being everywhere. They've lined him out at receiver. He's lined up as a fullback. He motions all over the place. And Greg really has had a great attitude. Mike Martz talked about that yesterday and said he's a guy whose numbers should be better, but just how much he's appreciated everything that he's sort of brought to the table. So I think the Seahawks will have to be very wary of where Greg Olsen is. And I really think that Greg Olsen can make a couple of big plays in this game.
A lot of things didn't go well for the Bears in Week 6 against the Seahawks. What do they need to do well to win the rematch?
I think the number one thing that they have to be able to do is to be able to slow down Matt Hasselbeck. He got into a nice little rhythm in that first game, completed a good number of passes, really had a nice connect going with Mike Williams, who ended up with 123 receiving yards. So that's priority number one, is to be able to get after Matt Hasselbeck, get him on the ground, hit him, and get him sort of out of rhythm, because he's the type of quarterback, you look at guys like Tom Brady, who had success against this, highly rated Bears defense, very accurate quarterbacks who have a tendency to get rid of the ball very quickly. And so they need to be able to disrupt him out of that rhythm early on so that they can stay in that game regardless of what's happening on offense.